Right now, you're watching this video with electricity. Your phone is charged, your room is lit, your fridge is running. But just 150 years ago, none of this existed. No lights, no heat, no running water, no refrigerator, just darkness, fire, and survival. This is the story of how humans lived for thousands of years before one invention changed everything forever. Every single morning began the same way. No alarm clock, no phone notification. The sun rose, and that was your alarm. If the sun was up, you had to be up, because every minute of daylight was precious. Miss a towel, and you'd be working in complete darkness. The average person slept 10 hours a night, out house. Not because they were lazy, but because when the sun went down, there was simply nothing else to do. Before you could eat breakfast, before you could warm your hands, before you could do anything at all, you had to make fire from scratch every single morning. 2 stones, some dry straw, and hope. On a good day, 10 minutes. On a cold, wet morning, you could spend half an hour just trying to see a spark. No fire meant no food. No fire meant no warmth. No fire meant you might not survive the day. There was no microwave, no electric stove. Every meal was cooked over an open flame. The woman of the house spent up to 6 hours a day just cooking, standing over a fire in a smoke-filled room, stirring heavy iron pots. No refrigerator meant food had to be eaten the same day it was cooked. Leftover food? It would rot by morning. Every meal was a race against time. So how did they survive winter? Salt, smoke, and underground cellars. Months before winter arrived, the entire family would work day and night, salting meat, smoking fish, pickling vegetables, burying roots in boxes of sand. This underground cellar was their supermarket, their refrigerator, their only hope of making it to spring. If the food ran out before winter ended, people starved, and many did. Turn on a tap today and water appears instantly. In medieval times, you walked to the well. Every morning, every afternoon, every evening. Women and children carried heavy wooden buckets, sometimes for half a mile, just to bring water home for cooking, washing, and drinking. A family needed dozens of buckets of water per day. That's hours of walking and carrying, just for water, every single day, for their entire lives. No machines, no engines, no electricity. Everything was done by human hands. Fields were plowed by men and animals. Grain was ground by hand. Wood was cut by axe. The average peasant burned more calories in one day, church, than most of us burn in an entire week. Their bodies were machines, and like all machines, they broke down. Most people were considered old at 40 and dead by 50. When the sun finally set, the world didn't just get darker. It became almost completely black. One candle. That was all most families could afford. Everyone crowded around that single flame, reading, sewing, talking, within a circle of light no bigger than this room. Everything outside that circle? Pure, absolute darkness. And candles were expensive. Many families could only afford 1 or 2 hours of candlelight per night. When the candle died, the day was over. Imagine stepping outside at night. No street lights, no phone screen, no light from windows. Just or nothing. A darkness so complete, you couldn't see your own hand in front of your face. Wolves roamed outside the village. Criminals used the darkness as cover. Disease spread in the shadows. Darkness wasn't just uncomfortable. For thousands of years, darkness was genuinely dangerous. And then winter came. No central heating, no radiators, no warm showers, just one fireplace. The whole family slept in the same room, sometimes with their animals, just to share body heat. In the coldest nights, the temperature inside the house was barely above freezing. Children died from the cold. The elderly rarely survived harsh winters. That fireplace wasn't just comfort. It was the difference between life and death. Washing clothes today takes 30 minutes. You press a button and walk away. In medieval times, washing one family's clothes took an entire day. Walk to the river, beat the clothes against rocks, scrub with rough homemade soap, wring the water out by hand, walk home, hang to dry, and pray it doesn't rain. Women did this every single week. Their hands were permanently red and cracked from the cold water and rough work. Getting sick was terrifying. No hospitals, no antibiotics, no painkillers. A simple infection that today costs $5 to treat could kill you in the Middle Ages. The village healer used herbs, prayers, and guesswork. Half of all children died before the age of 5, not from rare diseases, from things we cure today with a single pill: a fever, an infected wound, a broken bone that set wrong. Without electricity, without refrigerated medicine, your body was on its own. Someone you loved moved to another city. You sent a letter. That letter traveled by horse, through rain, mud, and dangerous roads. It might arrive in 2 weeks. It might never arrive at all. The reply? Another 2 weeks, if you were lucky. News of a war reached some villages months after it ended. People died without knowing if their letters were ever received. Without electricity, distance wasn't just miles. Distance was silence. No TV, no internet, no music apps. Entertainment was a storyteller around a fire. Once a week, if you were lucky, a traveling performer would arrive in the village, and the entire community would gather. Children sat wide-eyed on the ground. Adults laughed and clapped. These stories were passed down for generations. No screens needed, just a voice, a fire, and a room full of people who had nothing else in the world but each other. By 7 o'clock in the evening, most families were already in bed, not because they were tired, but because with no light or Oz, there was nothing left to do. Imagine your entire life ending at sunset. No late nights, no creativity after dark, no reading, no thinking, no dreaming while awake. Just darkness and sleep until the sun decided to give you another day. And then there was the most feared disaster of all: fire. The very thing that kept them alive could destroy everything in minutes. One unattended candle, one gust of wind, and an entire city could burn. The Great Fire of London in 1666 started by a single bakery oven left burning. It destroyed 13,000 homes. No fire trucks, no emergency services. Just people with buckets, church, watching their world turn to ash. Then in 1807 years, something changed. For the first time in human history, sure, a street in London was lit by gas lamps at night. People stopped walking and stared. Some wept. Others thought it was magic. A street that had been dark for 1,000 years was suddenly glowing. For the first time, humans had beaten the night. But the real revolution came in 1879. A man named Thomas Edison had failed over 1,000 times. 1,000 different materials, 1,000 dead bulbs. And then, attempt number 1001, the bulb stayed lit for 13 and a half hours. Edison reportedly said, "We will make electricity so cheapo that only the rich will burn candles." He was right. Everything changed that night. Within 20 years, EBO factories ran through the night. Within 30 years, hospitals never closed. Within 50 years, refrigerators kept food safe for weeks. Within 100 years, we sent a man to the moon, guided by electric computers. Every single thing that defines modern life: medicine, communication, food, safety, education, runs on electricity. One invention, one glowing bulb, and thousands of years of darkness were gone forever. Tonight, when you turn off your light before bed, or take 1 second, just one, and think about the billions of people who lived and died in total darkness, who never read past sunset, who never knew if their children would survive the winter, who spent their entire lives fighting for light. You have in your phone more power than they could have imagined in 1,000 years. Don't waste it. If you found this story fascinating, share it with someone who needs to hear it, because some stories deserve to be told in the light.